What is up, gang? X-Teen Featurette, I'm Chris. I have a review double whammy for you. I'm gonna review Trapped Alive, I'm gonna review The Chill Factor, all in like 10 minutes. These are both winter movies, so what better time to review them than August? And this one I really enjoyed. This one, not so much. So that's why I'm adding it on as a little bonus. So before we get into it, Trapped Alive, it has beautiful cover art. Like, I mean, it's so enticing. It makes you want to watch it. I watched some of the special features on this and I loved them. There was like this featurette, where was it? There was, it's a brand new restoration. This was like a hidden gem for a long time. It was available, like, I think it took 5 years or something before the VHS like actually came out on home video market. Brand new audio commentary with writer-director Leszek Burzynski. Audio commentary with makeup effects crew, Hank Carlson. Hysteria Continues, brand new audio commentary. There's Evil Underground, brand new making of documentary featuring interviews with the director Leszek Burzynski. Upper Michigan Tonight, I watched that 1988 television documentary on Windsor Lake Studios featuring footage from behind the scenes Trapped Alive. Contemporary interviews with Leszek Burzynski. There's a lot of interviews, a lot of special features on here. I watched that Upper Michigan Tonight thing, and it was ridiculous. It was like, this takes place in Upper Michigan, and it was really weird. So it was actually filmed in a mine. Let's see what we have in here. There is a little card for forbidden photos of a lady above suspicion. I reviewed that. You should go watch it. This is a really cool book. There's the whole gang is in a little cavern, and there are like some write-ups in here, and we have cast and crew: Forever Mine by Hank Carlson, My Father, The Man Behind the Monster by Brian Dean, about the restoration. So Forever Mine was the name of the fictional mine in the movie. I forget what the actual name of the mine was. I looked it up because I was like heavily involved in this. There's the alternative artwork. Fun fact, I did a lot of Googling on this, and the VHS cover art was not either of those covers. It was like some weird cover that had like a couple broads in it that weren't even in the movie. So that's strange. It opens like very vaguely. I thought that it was very confusing. It showed like a prison guard getting hanged or something. It cuts to like a Christmas party at some house. There's these two like teenage chicks. They're like at this party, but they're going to leave to go to some other party. They're in a car. The plate goes from Michigan to like, it changes to a New Mexico plate back to Michigan. My husband caught that because he's like obsessed with Michigan license plates in film. He has a problem with the fact that they always show front plates on Michigan cars, which they do not have. Fun fact. Again, these broads get stuck on a snowy road, and by the way, if you ever get stuck on a snowy road, you can become unstuck by just repeatedly saying fuck, shit, damn, in that order. I believe that worked for them anyway. Basically, these guys like carjack and kidnap these chicks, and for whatever reason, one of the chicks with a gun decides not to shoot these dudes. There's a young hunk kidnapper. He's like the dreamy kidnapper. He veers off the road and drives down a mine shaft. He goes down towards an old abandoned mine. The car literally lands on the door to a mine. Like, it's like sitting on a trap door. It says Forever Mine, which I thought was really cute. And the hunk says, he like looks around and he says, with no emotion and almost like he's annoyed, "We're on an old mine shaft or something. Nobody move." Like, it was so bizarre. This guy was strange. So they obviously fall down the mine shaft, or else we wouldn't have this movie. A cop happens to drive by and notices, like, he's driving by, doesn't even turn his head towards the mine shaft, and he's like, "Someone's down the mine." Like, okay, like this just happens every day in Upper Michigan or something. I think the mine was actually in Wisconsin. It was in like, you know, that weird no man's land up there. The cop radios in, "Someone's down the mine," and he's annoyed by it. The music sounds like some sort of a weird NES game or something. Like, that was cool, but it was like, just, what the heck? I don't know how things are in upper, like, Wisconsin, but the cop gets to, like, this cabin. There's a woman chain smoking in bed. The cop goes to use her phone to like call this in, and she like just starts obsessively hitting on this guy. So she's like, oh, I miss my dead dad, and then she's like nude, okay? And then there's a very awkward sex scene. It shows her tits, and then she's staring at the picture of her dad. Like, there was like a borderline incest implication, and I was sitting here watching it like, you know, put off. I was like very uneasy about this entire scene. So that was cool. I love feeling uneasy. And I think like all the while she's like having sex with this cop, like her husband's in bed or something. I don't know. There was some guy in her bed. But and then like I think she gave him like a mine shaft BJ. Like she was like, I'm gonna go down, down, down until I find the shaft or something. The mine shaft. Yeah, it was just very awkward. The whole scene was very awkward. Then there's Daffy Broad flipping out in the mine, knocks over a phone. That causes the phone to ring in the cabin where the crazy chick and the cop are. The cop realizes there's people in the mine. Like, he didn't already know that. The crazy chick in the cabin, she picks up the phone very blankly, hears the girl struggling, and she hangs up. Like, she's like pleased that there's somebody struggling on the phone. There's a very awkward scene also, another one, where the more like, so of the two like chicks that were going to the party and got hijacked, one is like a goody two-shoes and the other one's like a party girl. So the party chick is like having to strip for like the really psychotic one of the kidnappers. Like, it was very bizarre. Like, he's like, oh, shake your ass. And I'm like, it's a little weird. The guy's like talking all Shakespearean and stuff, like while this chick's like trying to strip for him. It was, you know, kind of unsettling. And then the cop like drops down the mine shaft. But there was all this like backstory, and they're like building these characters. All this while we never ever even see anything. So we finally see something from the monster's point of view, but then it's like, oh geez, like that took forever to build up. The guy that got chewed up gets dragged up the ceiling by these giant forceps or something, and out of nowhere. You see a dude that looks a lot like the Greasy Strangler. So the dude's like a cave dweller. That's really cool. I thought that he looked awesome. You don't get to see him much, but I think that's cool. It adds to like a mystique. I heard a lot of like negative reviews about this, but I'm not understanding why, because I thought it was great. There was a lot of character development. They set the scene really well, and I guess a lot of people found that boring, but I thought that it was entertaining. There was a lot of great TNA in the beginning. It was weird. It was so weird. There's a little twist in the end, and it takes a while to get to the monster, but once it does, it really picks up, and not that the beginning's slow or anything, it's just like, once you get to the monster, you're like, oh, what the heck is happening? There's not a lot of scenes outside, but that is because it's set in a mine, and, you know, the picture and everything, it was filmed in, like, a mine, I believe, so it was, like, everything looked and sounded really good for, you know, what it was. The chill factor, on the other hand, I don't know if I will ever watch. I won't ever watch this again. I can tell you right now, I am not going to watch this again. It was a snowmobiling movie, but if you like winter horror movies, I know a lot of people do, this is not one of them. It takes place outside for maybe about like 10 minutes of the whole thing. This is the best thing in the movie, like a icicle through the eye. The beginning's kind of interesting. It sets up like an interesting, you know, story. And then it's kind of like, it just like kind of digresses into, they wander into this like satanic house. And I was confused the whole time they were in the house. They did some weird thing with this janky looking type Ouija board knockoff. It could have been really creepy. It could have been good, but it just wasn't. There was some cool kills. If you are just into like horror movie kills and you want to see some, there's some in here. There's a weird guy with a long fingernail, and I don't know what happened. Like, the beginning was, like, interesting. The end, I was kind of like, what just happened? And everywhere in the middle, I'm like, when is this going to end? It was too long. Like, I don't know if it was too long, but it was just so boring that I was just looking at the runtime. And that's not good. Unless you're, like, obsessed with snowmobiling movies, I don't know how many there are, but this is one. other than that, I would recommend Trapped Alive over The Chill Factor. Very cool cover art, but this movie is the one that I would recommend 100 times over. So, you know, have you guys picked up either of these? Let me know, because I would like to hear your thoughts on either of them. Thank you for watching my review, and I'll probably have more for you in the future. Later, gang.